What are the best retakes in Fortnite for fast editors? Doing quad edits and ramp flips over and over again can get repetitive, so in this video I will be ranking retakes through 3 categories: flashiness, their difficulty, and how practical they are in fights and free builds. Starting with the super simple one, here is the Thwifo Cone. Popularized by the ex-Fortnite pro Thwifo in Chapter 1, this was one of the best ways to protect yourself during build fights when creative released. It still holds up pretty well today, and variations of it can be made to be more flashy. You can drag the cone into a triple edit or edit up through the cone you placed. In its base form though, this retake is not very flashy, but pretty much anyone at any skill level or input can complete it. I first learned this retake on controller on a PS4. This retake gives you a lot of protection, and it makes seeing you from an opponent's perspective very difficult. To complete this retake, simply jump to preserve your momentum and then spin your crosshair in a circular motion, and at the height of this motion, place a cone. The second retake is one of my favorites. I would call these fold 90s. I haven't seen too many players use this retake, but I use them all the time in my builds. They're a great way to vary your edits and are super easy to implement into free builds. I also use a version of these where I do a 180-degree turn instead of 90. I do the 180 version a lot, though it is not as protected because I don't usually place walls like I do for the 90 version. You can also make a lot of variations of the fold 90, like in this clip here where I use my loss of momentum to get extra folds in and then edit down through the tower I made. To do the basic fold 90, do a double edit and place 2 walls as you jump. Scroll wheel reset is useful for resetting the floor and cone. Finally, do a triple edit. This retake looks really cool. If done right, it looks very clean and fast. It also isn't very difficult, but it can look complex to viewers, adding to the flashiness. It may take some time to get it down, but it's not too difficult and definitely worth learning. It isn't super useful in fights, but it does offer a bit of protection. The next retake is my own twist on a somewhat popular retake. Rather than a normal protected jump into a triple edit, I combine this with a cone drag so I can switch directions during the triple edit and already have a cone placed to do a quad edit. This one is very dependent on ping. If you play on a higher ping, I would recommend not placing the walls and skip the cone drag. Either way, to practice this, start with the normal version first and work your way up to the more complex version. What I do is start with a full double edit and drag my cone to place 2 above me. Then I drag walls to protect myself, place a floor and a stair, and do a triple edit in the direction I placed the cone. Finally, I have an easy quad edit set up for myself. This retake looks very impressive, but is difficult to pull off. It's not the best retake for fighting, but if done at the right time, it can very easily fake out your opponent. This next retake does not work well at all in fights, but it looks really cool. There are 2 variations of it. One with stairs and one with cones. The stair version is much easier. First, you'll need to stand on a cone. To make it more flashy, you can edit the cone a bit as long as it gets reset, or edit the wall in half. Then jump off the cone, quickly placing a stair, floor, and another stair in the direction you're going. When using cones instead of stairs, it's the same idea, but edit the cones into stairs during the jump. This takes a lot of coordination because the first cone will be hard to reach, especially if you have your pickaxe out. This one is very easy to mess up and is for advanced fast editors. If you want to learn it, start with the stairs and work your way up to cones. Before I get into the next retakes, I updated my Midnight City map for this video if you want to play it. I fixed the max height teleporter, the car area, and a button to change the time of day to sunset. Here's a quick trailer. Going back to simplicity, the 5th retake is less of a retake and more of a method of protecting yourself or keeping a free build going. The basic version of this is what I use when I feel like I am about to mess up my builds. I place a cone and edit the 2 tiles I am facing. Then I place a wall and edit it into a bottom triangle arch. This protects you from the side that the cone was edited and is a great way to keep your free build going. I use this a lot when going for my 10 minutes of straight free building videos. If you want to make it more fancy, try doing a cone flip instead. Edit a cone into a ramp facing you, then reset it into a cone facing the opposite direction, confirming the edit as you are about to walk into the ramp. You can't use scroll wheel reset for this because you will need to reset and select before confirming. This version keeps you well protected and looks really smooth. The next retake I learned from watching tons when I was first practicing fast editing. You will need good coordination for this one. First, do a double edit and place a cone. Jump towards the cone and edit the cone into a ramp. Then drag down 2 walls and place a stair and a cone. Then edit through the floor and wall. Make sure to have your builds out when editing the cone or else you will not be able to reach it. A simpler version of this is to skip the cone edit and to just place a stair, but that doesn't look as cool. A variation I made of this is to start by placing a wall in front of you and then do a 180 and place a cone at the top. From here, you can make the same motion as before. This retake is not too difficult once you get the motion down. This next one I came up with and posted a tutorial on a long time ago back in 2021. I got flamed for calling it a retake in the comments, but I still think it looks super clean, so I'll put it here anyway. But just know, you will not be getting any high ground with this one. The idea is to stand on a cone, edit a window, and place a stair. I like to flip the stair here so when I jump off the cone and create an edit down, I can double flip the ramp, then run down into a wall edit. Otherwise, you can just flip the ramp once. Double flipping the ramp is what I do to make it more flashy, but it's completely optional. I like this as an alternative to the simple edit down because it is a bit more complex. It won't work too well in fights, but it is quite flashy. If you're just free building, it's a fun one to play around with. The next retake starts with a diagonal quad edit. Before I get into the retake, diagonal quad edits are very simple, but I really like the way these look. They are a great way to break up a free build, and are a move you can do similar to the ramp strategy when you are losing momentum. They are a lot easier than standard quad edits because you have more time to make the edits. These can be a good way to practice normal quads if you don't have them down yet. To do the 8th retake, start with a triple or quad edit. Then do a diagonal quad edit, except place and edit the wall in the same direction as the last quad. Then do a protected jump. You could even combine this with the cone drag retake from earlier to make it more flashy. In fights, you stay fairly well protected, but you probably won't fake out your opponent because you stay going in one direction. It's surprisingly difficult to do because of how many times your crosshair has to switch directions, but this adds to the flashiness and looks really smooth to a viewer. The final retake is another one I came up with. It's probably easier for controller movement, but it's definitely possible on keyboard and mouse. First, place a cone, turn, and place a stair. Edit the cone and stop it from breaking by placing 2 walls. Then edit the wall and jump on the ramp as you place 2 more walls through the cone. Be careful not to place a wall in front of you. Finally, do a side jump. Make sure you do something to protect yourself after this or you will be exposed. I love how smooth this is, and it takes me back to when I used to do retakes on controller. It is extremely flashy, but very difficult without controller movement. It is also kind of difficult to use in a fight or free build, so it isn't very practical. Let me know what you think of this video. This style is new for me and it took me a while to make. I'm not sure if there will be a part 2 for this or not, since there aren't all that many fast editing retakes. Thanks for watching.